Hello, and in today's video I would like to talk about my Africa Twin problems that I've had and problems that can happen on this bike. So I will be using my own experience with this particular bike and also information from YouTube videos that I've noticed that other people have. They are not necessarily things that I also had all of them, and they are not necessarily things that happen to other bikes, other Africa Twins, but nevertheless things that had happened to me and potentially can happen. So first thing is the front suspension. The left suspension starts to leak. You can see now it's also oily. And first leak came after 2 years of use. I was out of warranty, so it was not replaced under the warranty. I had to replace them myself. And then it was fine. And then I did the summer, over the winter, also no problem. Next season, start getting oilier and oilier. Then I used the seal saver, and then it went back to normal again. You can ride normally and nothing, it's all fine. And then after a while it starts again, leaking. And now in 2025, when I took a bike in for a service into the Honda dealer, I told them about this. Yeah, we can change the seals. But I told them the story that maybe it's no point to just change the seals. That can you please check if the stenchion tube is straight, is it round? It's no point to put the seal on and after one season it's leaking again. But they didn't give any answer, so I said, okay, if you're not sure that you're gonna check it, then I'm not gonna order that job, and I didn't. And why I talk about this, because in other Africa Twin owners videos I've seen a couple of times the same, that the left one starts to leak. I don't know why that is. Maybe it's my riding style, but I'm not the aggressive rider by any means. I don't do big off-road, like just gravel tracks and things like that. I don't go to, I don't know, some competitions or drive it in the water somewhere on a sea or I don't know, in a desert somewhere, or no crazy stuff. Mostly it's a highway and gravel tracks and stuff like that. But nevertheless, I still have that problem. I guess I have to take the suspension off and send it to some specialist that can actually check that everything is nice and round and nice and straight, and then put the new set of seals, and then we see how it goes. Then one thing that happened to me was these front axle pinch bolts. I was just riding normally, nothing crazy, and one time washing my bike I noticed that one of them was gone and the other one was loose. I could turn it by hand. And I couldn't understand why that is, because when I change tires I take the wheel off myself and I take the wheels to the repair shop where they mount the new tires, I put them on, and I do use the Honda owner's manual. I do everything according to that, and I do torque down the bolts and so on. I guess this can happen to any bike, but it happened to me once, and I checked them many times over, and I haven't had that problem anymore. But still, one of the things, I guess this kind of thing can happen to any bike. Then, what else? Yes. Then one strange thing is here. If you can see, I think it's a thermostat housing here. And here is the rubber hose to the radiator. And now and then I get a coolant leak from here. When you ride around, suddenly you notice here on the engine casing you have a drop of green liquid. And it comes from here. So I replaced the original hose clamp. This is stainless steel clamp, size 20 to 32, if you're wondering. And I've tightened it up, and sometimes during the trip or something I check it, but then again I can see very small stream of water or this coolant, and then you again here on the engine casing. Nothing big. There, if I stop the bike, there is no pool of water or coolant under the bike, nothing like that. But it happens, and I don't get it how it happens, because the hose is fine. I haven't checked it inside, and maybe there is some kind of tear in the hose inside liner, and then between the two hoses, because you have inner hose, then you have this mesh, and then you have outer hose. Maybe something wrong there, but in the last service with the Honda they didn't find anything. They did full coolant change and everything. They checked it. No, it's fine. So I don't understand why it's happening, and I haven't seen in videos or heard other people that they have this kind of problem. But now and then, yeah, small drops of coolant coming from there. Then about oil consumption. I don't know, I think I don't have any problem with that, but I've seen a couple of videos where owners complain that when they're traveling, doing long distances, that they have to top up the oil. I only top up in the end of the season. So every 2 years you do the service, and in between that I don't have to like constantly check it and then top it up. Here is the oil fill plug, and here is the dipstick. But let's say if I do 5,000 kilometers, then end of the season, when I check the bike and put it in winter storage, I check the oil level, and then sometimes you have to put 50 milliliters or up to 100. I've never put more than 100 milliliters of oil in it, and it's fine. The oil level has never dropped below a minimum mark. It's even when I have to put 50 or 100 milliliters, it's still in between, so it's fine. And even if I wouldn't put that much oil in, then probably in the service it would be closer to minimum level, but it's fine because you're gonna change the oil anyway. So I don't think I have the problem with that, but I've seen a couple of videos where they complain about it. Of course, it's very personal that people think that, oh, I have to put little bit oil in all the time, and then maybe they are stressed out and they fill and they don't check the oil level in the correct way, and maybe they overfill and then bike has started to consume oil. I don't know, I'm speculating, but I've heard that some people have the problem with the oil consumption. But I don't, in my opinion. Then one thing that is just a new development. As I said, in 2025, end of season, I had the bike serviced. It was 24,000 hour service. I drove it home, a little bit drive around the town and so on, and I had no problems. And now in the winter storage, in the garage, I have maybe -4, -5 degrees, and I've gotten an oil leak. I saw drops of oil under the bike, and I don't know if you can see, but here in the belly pan is a little bit of oil. And I was looking around where it's coming from, and it is coming from this sensor here. And when I was searching information about that, it turns out other people have had that problem also. And there is just an O-ring, so it's an easy fix. Drain the oil, take out the sensor, replace the O-ring, put back the sensor, put back the oil, and you're fine again. But I find it weird that the bike comes from a service, and the first 4 years I had no problems whatsoever. And after the service I get this kind of leak. Yes, maybe it's too cold for a bike and that's why it's leaking a bit, but I find it a bit weird. Again, not blaming Honda, not blaming the dealer who did the service or anything like that, but that is what has developed, and I will change that O-ring. I think it was 16.5 times 2.5 size O-ring. I will replace it and problem solved, but anyhow, this is what has happened. For the rest, I haven't had any other problems. Sometimes I had some weird noises, but they are all tire related, which kind of tire pattern you have, and the noise comes up from here, but it is barely noticeable. And sometimes when tires are running in, they will do that for a while and then they stop doing that, which is also true in my case. And I have had no other issues, what I've just have mentioned. Everything else has been okay. Maybe one more thing, it's not something that has broken, that is something that I broke. As you can see, here is a lot of scratches. I fell over from a very small speed, and when I fell over I broke the handguard, and it broke from here because here the plastics are very, very thin, a couple of millimeters of plastic here only, so as soon as you hit it some way it will break. Scratched this panel, and there was small scratch here on indicator, but this one I fixed myself. If you would fill up the crack with Loctite and sand it down and then polish, and you cannot even see that it's broken. But why I want to talk about that is that if the bike falls here, then all the small plastics behind it will break, guaranteed. And to replace these panels, it is very, very expensive. I think this panel is one panel here, that cost, I don't know, 500 euro or something. This inner panel is another 450 or 500. Then if you damage the tank, I think new tank is 1,500 euro or something like that. You can get them second hand, these tanks nowadays. But still, if you fall on this bike, it's gonna be expensive. And also all the connections between the panels, all the clips and hooks and everything that hold these fairings together, they are very, very small, very brittle plastic. So beware. It's wise to invest in the crash bars. I haven't done it because I don't like how this bike looks like when the crash bars are installed. But I've learned it in a hard way. It's better to put the crash bars on. That's maybe a negative side to Honda, that it should be a better design and not that expensive, because if it's an adventure bike, you are going to have falls, or any bike can have falls, of course, but in an adventure bike it can be more, and it shouldn't be that expensive to fix the bike. Oh yes, and about the tank. When Africa Twin, this model came out, there was a recall on the tank, that there was some problem with the inner coating of the weldings or something like that. But that is a recall, and if you go to the dealer, they will clean the tank out, and if necessary, I think they also will replace the tank. But what they mostly do is they clean the tank according to instructions from Honda. It was done on this bike by the dealer before I purchased. I ordered the bike, and before they gave it to me, they said, no, we have to perform this. So they did that job without any cost to me, of course. And I haven't had any problems whatsoever with the gas tank. There is no clogged filters. If I look in the tank, it looks clean and nice and no problem whatsoever. But this is one of the things I'm sure you can find information about in the internet as well. Then I've had one recall for engine management system. There's some kind of software update, and you have to go in because there is something. Was it something with the throttle or something like that? Anyway, they go and they update, and it's also free for you. Now they have new recall. It's something to do with this switchgear and with the wiring harness. That in some cases, that when you're turning the handlebars, the wires get pinched or stretched, so they can cause malfunction in connections. So I've been in. They've done the preliminary service work. So they've checked the wiring harness and they've tightened it up better and stuff like this. But they said in 2026 they call me back and all this switchgear and this wiring harness will be replaced. Because when I went in 2025 they were not ready for it. They were aware of it. They did what they could at the time, but they said themselves that they are going to do this in proper way, and they will notify when they are ready to do so. And I guess that's it. I've had a couple of recalls and all these small leaks that have occurred. Some of the things are maybe my mistake or my riding style. Of course, some of the things, as I said, could be better design. But overall, nothing like catastrophic or serious. And it's a common question. And now, if I come back from a longer motorcycle trip, people always ask, hey, what did go wrong? And I can honestly say nothing has gone wrong. None of my trips have stopped or been interrupted or cancelled because there is something wrong with the bike. Always worked flawlessly, and I've driven in really, really cold winter conditions and summer condition 30 degrees plus, and it has been great. I can honestly say that. So yeah, these were the, I hope, not so negative things, because all the bikes have something that's like typical to that model or manufacturer, or some things that are recall from manufacturer. So it's nothing out of the ordinary, but still a couple of things that I've noticed that what I have, other people have had, or what other people have had, I haven't had yet, but that I can look out for. Hope to like this video, maybe it's useful information to somebody, and thank you very much for watching. See you next time.